Hello and welcome to this tutorial video for the Shamanic Portals ABLETON Sound Healing Sound Journey template. This tutorial is mainly for beginners, like for people who are new to ABLETON. If you are already familiar with ABLETON, I would suggest you watch some of the other more advanced videos about this on my YouTube channel. But this one is for people who are completely new to ABLETON, and this is like an in-depth introduction and walkthrough of this template. So yeah, the first thing that I want to say about this is there will be another video about the creative process behind it and all the magic that happened in the co-creative process with my dear friend and amazing artist Flora Synth. In this one, we focus more like on the how-to and the technicalities and the workflow with this template. So the first thing that I want to say is the intention was to create something for beginners that works in live light. Usually you get ABLETON light with anything that you buy, like an audio interface or like a microphone or some piece of gear. MIDI controller gives you ABLETON live light. And so I wanted to create something within that vicinity. However, it comes with limitations, right? So as opposed to the original version, the standard or the suite, you are limited to 16 scenes, right? So those are scenes here and 8 channels, right? So I was working within that limitation, and my intention was to create some sort of modular shamanic drone soundscape generator, if you wanted to put it that way. And then I created sounds by imagining different dimensions, parallel versions of Earth or parallel universes of places where the inhabitants and the beings live in harmony together. They are very enlightened, they're very spiritually advanced, and I ended up creating all kinds of sounds, and then my friend Sky was actually tuning in, listening to the sounds, meditating, and channeling the whole planes and creating an image for each of those sounds. And here you can see this is a lesson, right? So when you open this up, it says Shamanic Portals. This is the link to the video you're watching, and then we have an introduction where I share something, and then we have something that Sky shares, harmonic visions, and then we have like the portals themselves, so all the planes, right? And you can go to the previous page, and you can also go, if you go all the way down, you can always go back to contents, right? And here you can find out all the details within this lesson. However, I suggest you check out the PDF because it's super beautiful. This is just very handy and helpful to be just on one screen and just to have everything like available within the project. So if you don't want to see that, you could exit out here, right? And if you want to see that, you can always go to view and then help view, right? And then you see it. All right, so let's get into it. So ABLETON is very unique in the sense that it has a session view and an arrangement view, you know? So it has two workspaces, you could say, or two dimensions. One is more linear, which is the arrangement view. And here you can see I can switch the views. So if I click here, you see like a linear timeline, right? And here you have the time, and here you have the bars. And this will be the place where you actually work on a finished piece of music that you're then gonna export and share with the world. Classical arrangement style, like in other DAWs. And this other view, the session view, is the view for performing and for jamming and for creating ideas. And in this case, we use it for performing and jamming, right? So each of those channels here, right? Low drones, mid drones, high drones, Atmo 1, 2, Flora and Fauna, and then those effect sounds. They all live on their own channel. And you can play only one of these They are called clips, right? Each of those blocks, those colorful blocks, they are called clips. In this case, they are audio clips, so they contain material information that has been pre-recorded. And if you want to listen to one of these, right? So if you, let's say you want to listen to the flora and fauna of Arborea, which is a world very similar to Avatar, Pandora, then all you need to do is to click on this play button here in front, right? So I click play, and you hear the bird is starting to sing, right? And then here, that is the volume of the channel. So I can click on it and I can go up. I can also click on it and go up and down with my arrow keys, right? Up and down arrows. Or I just click on it and go, and I can adjust the volume, right? So now we have the birds playing. But let's say you want to listen to the Giving Waters of Vakinia, and then you play here, right? And then you have another sound playing. So you can see it's only one sound per channel, right? But you can play, of course, multiple sounds together. So I could go to the Atmo one here and bring in the Fae, right? And then this also plays. And because those are all loops, they just play seamlessly together and they just repeat until you stop them, right? That's pretty much the idea. So let's say you want to bring in like a drone, right? So now you have this one playing, and this one, and this one. And you can always start new ones, or if you want to stop something, let's say you want to stop this mid drone, you can just click here on this stop button. So you press stop and then it stops playing. Boom, right? Same goes for here. If you want to stop everything, you can just press stop here and then everything stops playing. And when you start pressing play on this one, everything that has a green playhead already that is pre-selected, so to say, for playback will play. Right now, if I press play here, only the birds start to play, right? But if I stop it, and then I also select those two, right? The Soul Rings and the Fae. And now I press stop here, right? You see, they are selected for playback. And if I press play here on the master, so to say, on the arrangement play, they all play at the same time, right? And you can also press spacebar. If you press spacebar, that's a keyboard shortcut. The spacebar on your computer keyboard is to start and stop, or like to play and stop the clips. All right, so that is pretty basic, right? And the idea is that each of those sounds makes up a full scene, right? So if I launch a scene here, for example, this is a scene launch button, this play button here, this will launch all the sounds at the same time that belong to Arborea. So if I play here, you see it started everything, right? It's playing all the sounds at the same time. If I want them all to stop, I press here, and then they all stop. So that's the idea. And basically, those are the 6 core elements of one realm, but also one soundscape. However, it doesn't mean that you need to use all 6 at the same time or at once or all the time. You know, it can be like very intuitive, very flexible. And the idea is, if you need some inspiration, this is then where the PDF or like this piece of lore and literature channeled by Sky comes in very handy, right? So let's say Arborea, And you can click on it, and then you find out about Arborea, right? It's a realm of natural beauty and magic where the forests are incredibly vast and rich with plant and animal life. The trees are often massive and adorned with colorful foliage, and the air is filled with sweet scents of blooming flowers and fresh pine. And wow, instantly you feel like some connection, you know, like, and then you look at the images and you like get the vibe, and this is really helpful. So then, you know, like, okay, so Arborea. And then I play the sound. And this is giving you like this kind of grounding, deep, magical vibe, right? And there's also descriptions about each of the elements, right? So if you go down all the way, or if you check it in the PDF, if you go to the inspiration notes, you can see where it's inspired by. So Arborea is inspired by earthy, grounding, organic, lush, jungle canopy, magical, elves, and fairies, right? And then you see element 1 is the low drone, and that's Arborea, right? And then you see what it's made of, and it's grounding and has a trance-inducing effect, right? So that will be the intention why I created this. And in general, I have low drones, mid drones, and high drones. And in case what you wonder what drones are basically a long sustained note, as I was writing here, single note soundscapes played in a low register to create a grounding and trance-inducing effect. And that means there's not too much going on, in the sense that there's not much movement happening because it's only one note, very extended. So this is a place of stability and grounding. At the same time, it has a certain atmospheric vibe, right? And then low drones because of the frequency response. And then if I go mid drones, then you hear it sounds a little bit higher. It's a little bit higher octave, right? And then if I go the high drone, right, then you hear there's a lot of top end as well, like a lot of high frequencies. So this way they can all play together without interfering so much in the mix and in the frequency spectrum. That's why I chose always low drones, mid drones, and high drones. Basically you could see this as one big drone, right? The three together, but they are like really working well in the sense that they don't take the space away in the mix, in the frequency spectrum, because they are separated by frequencies, by the octaves that I played them in or recorded them in, right? And then you have like atmo sounds, so this is giving additional atmospheres, right? And then you can add them in. Obviously, now I'm doing everything with the mouse, right? Like it would be ideal if you had some sort of MIDI controller, which is a device that allows you to push knobs and buttons and faders in order to control what's going on in Ableton. And there will be a video about that also. But for now, this is just like the basic introduction to give you an idea, right? You could also press the stop button here if you wanted all of them to stop, right? And then they all stop. So basically you can see each scene has all the main elements, like one big drone made up of 3 individual drones, low, mid, and high. And then we have 2 kind of atmo sounds, and then like the field recordings, right? And I will get into the effect sounds in a second. But what I want to show you is, so the cool thing is, right, each scene on its own makes a lot of sense and works well. And is worth exploring, and you could just stick with that and just go from one scene to the other and just go from one portal to the other, and that would work. However, the cool thing is that they are all in the same key, which is A minor, and they're all in the same tuning, 432 hertz. So that means they all work with each other. So you can blindly choose any sound of any realm and combine them, right? So I could choose a low drone of Tian Long and the mid drone of the Arcturian Warden, and then the Elder Eternal here, high drones, right? And then Astral Projection, Shapeshifters, You see, it's all working together because it's all in the same key. And this is where it becomes like really magical, right? Because you have infinite possibilities to create sonic worlds, or as we would say, to traverse the shamanic portals and become like a planar voyager, and just, you know, like teleport yourself and remember your multidimensional existence, and your soul is having multiple experiences at once. And this way, this can give us a little idea of that, because our consciousness can project itself into multiple realities at the same time, and that's the whole idea of the shamanic portals, in a sense. So yeah, right? Super cool, infinite possibilities. You can just intuitively play, or you choose your favorite sounds and play, and that's really over 8,000 different combinations how you could arrange the sounds. So in infinite amount almost of possibilities to recreate sonic magic and really bring in certain elements of each world. And again, I highly suggest you really read about all the worlds, and you really dive in and you look at all the beautiful images within the PDF to get to know it really deeply and understand what the intention behind is, but also intuitively just feel, right? Because this is how it was happening to Sky. He was listening to each sound, and then images and stories came, right? So you might add to the story with your own imagination. The whole idea is to give you something that inspires you from the get-go, because it might be intimidating when you start out and, you know, like you're passionate, you want to create your first sound journey, but you don't know where to start. That's why we have this whole support kit, you know, like with all those extra images and all those informations. And at the same time, we actually really believe that those realms do exist, and we tapped into those realms and brought this information and frequencies into this realm. So, all right. So with that being said, let's have a look before we go into those effects, Rex. Let's have a look at the other features we have here. So there's some more features about the channels. So let's say I just play maybe this for now, Ever Spring of Memories, right? I already showed you the volume, but you can also mute a sound by clicking here on the number. See, now it's gone. And you click on it again and it's unmuted. And if you say you have like two sounds playing at the same time, if you want to isolate a sound, you could solo. And then you just listen to the sound, right? I could play another one here. You see it's playing, but it's grayed out because it's on solo, and we focus only on channel 5. So channel 5 is solo, and we only hear this one. If you wanted to bring in channel 6 without channel 4, you can hold Control on PC or Function and Command on Mac, and then solo multiple channels. Or you just click on the S again and everything is unsoloed, right? And again, muting number here. And so those are the functions. The rest you can ignore. This is for recording. We're not recording at the moment. And so now, let me show you like a really cool feature, which is the effect rack that each channel has, right? So let's play like here. Right, let's say we have those sounds playing. And then maybe I like solo this Temple of Light for now so that you can really hear what's going on. So if I actually click on this name here, High Drones, if I double click on it, or if I go down here, you see where it says High Drones here, and then you see the little devices. So if I click on this triangle here, you see this shows up, right? And then you see some effects. Like this is a low cut that I put in to take out the low frequencies because it's a high drone and we don't want low frequency content. So I cut that out with the filter because there was no EQ in live light. So I had to use the filter as a low cut. Usually I would take just an equalizer and take out the low end. But in this case, I used the filter, and you can see there's also a low cut on the mids on a different frequency. And there's a low cut even on the low drones, but at 30 Hertz. So in the sub area, and in the mid drones, I cut at 60 Hertz. And in the high drones, I cut at 120 Hertz, which means all the frequencies below 120 will not be played, right? I could take it off, and you hear a lot more low end is coming in. If you listen with headphones, you can hear it, or good speakers. But I don't need that information, because if those are also playing, then it would be too much at that area. That's why I cut it out. But what I want you to focus on is the Shamanic Portals effect rig, right? And you will find that on each channel. And this is an opportunity to even further shape your sounds and to be more playful and interactive, right? So what we have here are two filters, high cut and low cut. So high cut is taking out the high frequencies, right? So now you hear it gets, again, I suggest you listen on headphones or good speakers, right? So now it's taking out the high frequencies and bringing them back in all the way. So like it's going from 26 Hertz, which is super sub, we don't hear anything. So now nothing below that frequency will be played, so we only hear the sub. And then slowly as we bring it up, slowly we hear it, right? So that's the high cut. We also have a low cut, right? Then that leaves us only with the highs, right? So now everything below 900 will be cut out. And because there's not so much high end in here, we lose it at some point, right? So you always need to see and listen. Is there more low frequencies or more high frequencies? In general, if you want to make sounds warmer, you make a high cut, right? Because you take out the high frequencies, high cut. Less highs, more warm. Less lows, low cut, brighter, right? In this case, it loses also its body. So that's not a really good example for more brightness, but you feel how it loses its warmth because all the low end and the low mids are missing, right? So that's that. And then we have echo, which is a really cool delay effect. So if you increase echo, you will hear more repetition. So if I replay this sound, right, you can hear it's really repeating a lot. And the higher the value, the more echo you will get. If it's like 50%, you get a little bit of repetition and echo. And then you also have space, which is kind of like a reverb. And again, you can hear how it gets more like ethereal and more shimmery, right? And I really like it. They have like a lot of echo and space, like reverb. And then you really hear it gets like super ethereal, right? If I unsolo this, right? So this can create a lot of like a sense of depth and spaciousness, and yeah, just more shimmer and magic. And again, those parameters can be dialed in for each of the channels, right? So let's say, okay, and let's bring in another sound here. The Mirage Portal. I will solo this for now to show you the next function. So this is a noise generator. So you can actually increase the noise, right? And this will add noise. Again, you need headphones to hear that really well. And then here's the frequency of the noise, right? So And this just adds a little bit of grit. And in general, we like white noise. And because it's kind of soothing, right? Some people even like the sound of a vacuum or something like that, or like a fan, you know, something like this. So you can just add a layer of noise, and maybe let's show you that again here on the Temple of Light. Increase the noise. You hear how it gets a bit more distorted, but then you can change the frequency, right? You hear how that it gets more noisy, but it's actually like really cool. It's a bit more dramatic also, more edgy, but it's also soft because of all the space. If I take out the space and the echo, you hear more like the crunch, right? It almost sounds like a snare or like a hi-hat or something percussive. But it's actually really cool. So you can just now add more layers of frequencies to your sounds, and it can be very subtle or very extreme. Right? So now you hear like really extreme, especially in the high frequencies. Right? So this is just another layer of effects that you can add in. And then let me show you another one. Maybe here. The Mirage Portal, taking out a little bit of the noise here. The last thing that is happening here is the portal effect. And here we have the depth. So basically what happens is shaping the volume rhythmically. Right? Listen to how it creates a rhythm, right? So this way you can create movement and pulse even without percussion sounds. Right? And what is happening is the volume is being shaped rhythmically. So if I change the portal value, it changes the rhythm. Right? So the higher value, 49, makes it rather slow. It's a quarter note. And then you can go faster. All the way to 1/16th note, right? So you can have a rhythmic value for each for each of the sounds. Right? Let's do one for the Temple of Light. Right? So all of a sudden, it's more rhythmical and pulsing and dynamic, but we don't even have any drums or any percussion going on. So that's really cool. Right? And you can really add some noise. You know, so this is really cool because, yeah, the drones are nice on their own and the sounds and they work well, but if you want to have some fun performing, and if you want to create some really unique flavors and textures and all that stuff, then the Pulse Effects rack is perfect, right? You can work with the filters. And I will show you like a performance video at some point on my YouTube channel where I really use them a lot in extreme. To like really shape the sounds in a very unique way. So yeah, that's pretty much it, except for the last one, which is also really cool, which is the effects racks, right? So if you want to go from one section to the other, or in general, if you just want to make transitions or create intro and outro sounds or just create some ear candy, then I have two effect racks here. So if you click on the sound healing rack, for example, double click, then you can see it's a drum rack, which is a sampler in ABLETON. And this can be played with MIDI notes, like with the MIDI controller with the keyboard, or you can just click on the sounds and play them by hand, right? And this is the sound healing rack. And again, you can see I have the same effects that I showed you, all the same. So each channel has the same effects, and you can shape the sounds like very uniquely with the same parameters, which are super powerful. If you want to see like what I actually did, I did like some sound design and went really deep in, you know, creating a bunch of effects together. So this is like what's going on under the hood. You can see there's a lot happening, right? But yeah, basically you have a lot of sound shaping opportunities with that thing. So yeah, let's get into the rack here. So if you check the sounds, right? At the beginning we have like Tibetan bowls, and again it's all tuned to 432, right? And it's a C. So if I press play on here, you can hear Tibetan bowl soft, right? And then I have Tibetan bowl hard, and then sustain, and then harder sustain, right? And again, I could create some effects here, right? Super cool. And then tinctures, right? And this is just to spice up your journey. That's probably already too much. Like the way that I use it is like at the beginning, opening and closing, and in between transitions. If I transition from one section to the other, or if I want to create a mood change or something, then I just use the sounds. The way that I use them is with the MIDI controller. I use the ABLETON Push, which is great. If you can afford it, I highly suggest it. But at this point in your journey, you might not even want to invest that much, you're not sure. So you can also play it very easily with your computer keyboard. So if this is enabled, like this symbol here, this turns your computer keyboard into a MIDI keyboard. So if you arm this one for recording, so you need to click on this red symbol here. This means arm for recording, or like arm it for playback, right? And then I can press my letter A, and I need to see I'm not in the right octave, so you can see I'm too high, right? Check this yellow thing here. I'm playing notes, you see, but I'm too high. I need to be lower. So I need to lower my octave, and that happens by pressing the button Z. You can see now I'm in a different octave. I can go up by pressing X, right? So now I'm from C4 to D5. Look in the bottom, lower bottom left. C3, C2, C1. C1 is the right octave. So now I press the letter A, and I'm playing the singing bowl, right? And I press the letter L, and I'm playing the gong. So, and anything in between is playing. So A would be your C, W would be your C sharp, S would be your D, E would be your E, D would be your F, and so on. So that's one way to use those sounds. And if not, you can just click on them. So this is the sound healing section with gongs. Those are tuning forks, by the way. Right, so if I turn off this. So it's like 64 Hertz, 108 Hertz, 216, and 432 Hertz, right? So those are tuning fork recordings. Super nice. And then gongs. And then if we go to the Shamanic sound effects rack, we have Shamanic sound effects like shakers, chimes, rain sticks, and drums. Right, and you can see there's already some effects applied. And let's just maybe put like a drone. Right, and then This works really well at the beginning, just one drone and nature sound. And you could make those rhythmical as well. Right? Right, so now you hear the rain stick is actually played rhythmical. How cool is that? So right, so this could be like an introduction to something, and you can always come back to the effects in between and play them. And I think it's a beautiful addition, you know, just to yeah, create some accents to support what you have already going, and to have some fun performing as well. And shakers are always super powerful to cleanse the space or to put people into a trance state, so that's why I have a lot of shakers. And rain sticks also very cleansing, and in general beautiful textures. So yeah, that's pretty much how to use this template. As I said, for now we didn't use any MIDI controllers. I did everything with the mouse and clicking, and it's fine, you know, I could do a whole journey with that. But it's definitely more fun to play with the MIDI controller, and I will show you that in another video. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you have fun exploring the templates. Should you at some point find that you have exhausted all the possibilities or you're hungry for more, if you actually go all the way down here back to the contents, there's a resources chapter, right? And there are more templates, right? And one that goes perfectly well with the Shamanic Portals is the 432 Hz chakra bowls and drones template. If you're interested, like here you can see like a description. Why does it fit? Because it's the same tuning and it's the same key, and it's a lot more focused on sound healing. So it has bowls and drones, but it also has shamanic drums. And if you click on get the template, then you will find, you know, the website where you can buy it. You can watch the video, and yeah, and get more inspiring sounds. So that's it for now. I really hope you enjoy this template, and thank you for choosing the path of a sound alchemist, a sonic wizard, a sound healer. It's amazing what you're doing, and yeah, I hope you have a lot of fun and you transform lots of people's lives and bless up many spaces and gatherings. Thank you so much, and much love. See you in the next video. Bye bye.